Welcome, everybody, to the episode 2 of the Team Reinvented podcast. I am your host, Arilith. I'm an ambassador for the company. I am also joined by my previous guest, now co-host, Alex Pavlik. He's the video editor for the company.
I got a raise.
Yeah, and today we're joined by a special guest and Valorant coach for the team, Slater. Say hello, Slater.
Yeah, what's up, everyone?
Wow.
And today we're going to talk about some cool stuff. I think we got some Valorant on the agenda just because we got Slater here. He's a big Valorant guy. We got some other like personal life stories going on. And we also have we want to talk about Counterstrike also, especially because the scene's a little jank right now. But before we started off, I wanted to mention that Team Reinvented now has an Indiegogo campaign where we're raising money for the org. We'll post a link in the description for it. We'd appreciate if all of you guys could go check it out. Any donations would help, and we have some kinds of gifts for different tiers, like they usually have on Indiegogo and like Kickstarter campaigns. They can get. We have some pretty cool stuff. Dorian said it. Got some pretty cool merch for it. So I'd appreciate if all of you guys check it out. And welcome everybody.
It has a pretty sick video out there, too, with all of our faces on it. I think everybody's featured in it, yeah, right?
Wait, Slater, you're in it too, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in it too, for like the most cringeworthy part in my opinion.
The cringeworthy part? What are you talking about? I thought
Dude, I look at myself, I don't, it's weird because like I'm okay with being in front of camera or something like that, but when we watch a video with me in it, I'm like, why did I say that? Like, why did I say it like that?
I feel
why
that
do I look
way
like
too
that
much.
right now?
Like, when I was recording my part, like, I think the last time I recorded something in, like, a video that I was working on was in, like, high school, like, whenever, like, those stuff were, like, back in the day. Or I did something in college, but, like, I don't know, just having me in front of the camera and then listening to myself back, I think I sound like I have a really deep voice, but I have like one of the highest pitches voices.
It's like that for everybody in the sense of like you perceive your voice different than like when you hear it, like you just can't help but cringe. I mean, maybe if you're like used to doing audio stuff, but like if you don't do it a lot, like as soon as you hear your voice, it's just like ugh.
I wish I was Daniel Day-Lewis or something like that, where I could just go in front of a mic and just be like, oh yeah. I sound badass as hell.
Have you heard that like YouTuber and he makes music and stuff, Corpse?
the low voice.
Yeah, he has like the lowest voice ever.
I bet he can't even hear his voice in his mind. Like when it projects, it's so low when it comes through audio, but in his head when it's like naturally lower, I bet it's just like lower than the frequency. You can,
in his
like,
head,
hear.
his audio waves are like at such a low decibel that he can't hear it himself.
But, you know, I don't know.
I can never understand that.
Yeah, that video was fun to make. I thought that was cool, and it was cool to like get everybody's like faces into it because, to be honest, before then I didn't really know any of you guys. You know, is one of those things where like okay, joining the team. You know, starting to form everything together. I mean, Dorian was just starting to create the team, and it was cool to see everybody's take on just a set amount of words and hear how people reacted to scripts.
Where did he find you? Was it Fiverr that he found you or
found me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fiverr. Yeah. It was one of those kind of guys where I was on Fiverr trying to be a little up and coming videographer, just a little boy out there, out in the open.
He found me on Fiverr too. Like I posted my Valorant. Because I posted an ad, I was like, I can be either Counter-Strike manager or Valorant team manager. And like 2 days later, he messaged me and he was like, hey man, I'm looking for a team manager. You want to interview? And I was like, well, that was fucking quick. Okay. And I just got on and yeah, I guess Fiverr, I think he found a lot of people on Fiverr. Fiverr's actually a really nice website, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Found a lot of useful stuff.
Wait, so you were on Fiverr for 2 days and then you got that gig?
I was on Fiverr for 2 days, yeah. Like I made it. I remember I made it on a Wednesday, and he contacted me on a Friday.
Jesus.
Like at like 3 a.m, and I was luckily up at that time.
That's wild. I think I got my call from him because Fiverr's cool, but there's a lot of sketchy stuff on it, which is like not fun for videographers. I won't get into the gory details of it, but like there's it's cool because like some of the first gigs that I got were like, oh, this company from, Indonesia is like trying to promote their tutoring website, and they want like, people to help like edit little videos of like, Shutterstock footage of people like learning how to do this so that they could, promote their website. And I thought that was really cool. And then naturally in my Fiverr video, I just kind of had my face out there because a lot of people didn't really have their faces associated with their video work. So they were like, oh, you seem like a good spokesperson. Why don't you get in front of the camera and, be a spokesperson for this company? And I was like, what the hell, just do it for $5-10. So did that, thought that was pretty fun. And then a couple other companies were, I think one person was like, oh, I'm starting my own business, but I want to like learn how to promote via videography, and wanted some lessons as well. And I kind of taught people how to do the basics of Premiere and things like that. But Fiverr is such like a crazy place for people learning how to do things, anything creative, artistic, or productive in the economy. Like there's so many things you can do on Fiverr, which I think is really, really, really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dude, Dorian freaked out. We were talking to yesterday. That video that we were all in, the one that you edited, I told him that it was like almost 500 views on YouTube, and he was like, "No way." Last time I checked, that was like 70, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm checking it right now. It's like 492."
Really?
Dorian was like freaking out, yeah. And I was like, "Dude, like that video did a lot better than like all of us probably predicted." And like, I think all of us were like predicting like 150 or something like that, because I mean, new channel stuff like that, but like almost 500 ain't bad.
Yeah, but like YouTube's, I don't know how YouTube's algorithm works like to this day. Like I have like a bunch of videos on my channel, and they have standard views, and then one of them just has like 14,000, and it's like, how did this like stupid video I edited on my iMac in like iMovie in 2015 get 14,000 views, and then like YouTube never showed my stuff again. It's goofy.
And I don't know. The YouTube algorithm is weird.
Yeah.
There's like so many videos out there that are like, I understand the YouTube algorithm. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You have a good, I guess, but you don't know what's
I'm
happening.
pretty sure YouTube doesn't even understand the algorithm, and they made it.
Yeah, probably not.
It's
They
just
just
a
let the
beast.
AI do
They
its
let
thing.
it go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I gotta say, all this stuff coming together, and even like talking about like 500 views, like looking at a video right now and seeing like it has 500 views, like I always just wonder in the back of my head, like, what if for like in a year from now, like we actually get some notoriety, and some people start watching, and these are the very early days where we're like, oh my gosh, we got 500 views on a video.
This would be like a good time capsule. It's like they were freaking out over like 500 views back then.
Exactly, and you
Right.
you just gotta relish in it all. You gotta relish in it until you hit it big.
100%.
But it's exciting. That's exciting. What else? It's 60 degrees out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I just gotta say, wait, where are you? Midwest? Are you like East Coast,
Yeah,
West Coast?
I'm Midwest. I'm EST time because I live in Indiana, and like there's a little blip that comes straight through my state that connects to EST. If I go like 40 minutes north of my state, I'm CST. Same
Really?
thing with going like 40 minutes south. Yeah. It's like this little blip. I don't know why, but it does. But it's right now I think it's like 68 degrees in Indiana, and like 2 3 days ago it was like 12 to 13 degrees with wind chill. And I was like, what the hell's happening?
Like I know
Come
October
on,
was like
can't handle this.
whack. It was like freezing. And there were days where it was like 30 or like 40 degrees in October, and all of a sudden it hit November. It's like, all right, let's bounce back, and now it's like 60 degrees out.
Right.
It's crazy. Like, what is it? I have a friend who lives in Montana, out of all places, and he's one of those people that's just like, don't sleep on Montana, but also don't talk about Montana, because if it gets too overpopulated, then
But it's not gonna get overpopulated, bro. If
I
you're
know,
from
that's why
Montana,
nobody's talking about
if you're
Montana.
watching this and you're from Montana, click off the video. Bro.
what, dude? I'm just saying, Montana's like. All Montana viewers right now are crying, dude. But he's saying, it's like, yo, I think they had like 60 degrees as well or something like that, maybe 50, but he's just like, yeah, normally it's like 0 and we already have like 12 feet of snow at this point in November, and he's walking outside and can see instead of just seeing snow. It's just like, that's the craziest thing about this time. And me and Don, we literally before this, we got some euros before shooting this, and it was hella good. We just like got into a car, rolled the windows down, walked a couple blocks, and people were outside walking dogs and things like that. And I'm like, man, it feels like it should be like July, but we were also listening to Christmas music like on the way over. So it's super weird. I don't know how people live in like Florida or California and have like 60-degree Christmases. That's the biggest thing to me.
That'd make me sad. If there wasn't any snow for Christmas time, I think I'd be pretty down in the dumps, honestly. It's the snow that sells it.
I remember when I was a kid, like that was the only day I wanted to snow was Christmas. Like I didn't want snow any other day throughout December, but if it didn't snow on Christmas, I was upset. Like a green Christmas was not what I wanted.
Yeah, like green Christmas is like for me like never ideal. And we've had, I think, did we have one last year?
I thought, I wasn't going to say last year, but I thought sometime when we were probably in like high school or something like that, I would have sworn that it was like snowy November, December, but then the week that it was Christmas, I thought it like warmed up, and I was like, what the hell?
And it's just like, it's depressing because it's like you look outside and it's like, oh, this doesn't feel like Christmas.
The Christmas spirit is gone.
Yeah, Christmas spirit's destroyed just because it isn't snowing.
Exactly. But, you know.
Pretty much.
I mean, I'm taking these 60-degree weather days, you know, if they come. Honestly, I mean, people say when they get like old, like 40s, 50s, 60s, that they don't want to like shovel snow, you know, and they want to like move south to like places that it's like warm. But, you know, right now I'm kind of in that zone where like 60-degree days are good, but like November, December, January, I kind of want it to snow because I kind of want to like go outside and like chuck snowballs at people.
Does your car handle snow well?
Yeah, dude,
Really?
the tires.
So bored.
So to put this into context later, like my car is a 1996 Geo Prism and it's light blue. It's like the cultivation of every grandma car you've ever seen.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing. And the best thing about it is that I haven't replaced the tires on that thing for quite a while. And for some reason, they're still like gripping hella well to the ground. And in the snow, because it's such a lightweight thing, it tracks so well. Like it just like digs into the snow, and for some reason the grooves are like still good with it, which I'm like, yo, that's hella fire. So I'm just, yeah. My car is just one of those things that it looks like a meme on the outside, but man, that thing like trucks.
Yeah, it has like the integrity of like a paperweight. Or not like, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess in like car, if you were to equivocate it to like a car, it'd be more like paper mache. Like you can slam into something with that car and like it won't put a dent.
Okay. All right.
What do you mean? Okay, you taking personal offense to your car?
I'm not taking personal offense. I'm taking that as like a compliment. I think that's.
It's nice. I mean, have you ever had to like trade insurance with someone?
With a different car, but not.
Oh,
That's a whole different story.
if it's a different car, it doesn't count.
I don't want to talk about my driving experience on this podcast, Dominic. People can look that up in the state records.
You ever got your license revoked before?
I don't think so.
It's classified information.
Yeah.
This is a freaking gaming podcast, guys. Let's not fucking get off topic. Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah, I already dropped the F-bomb like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Get off the podcast. We don't allow that here. Okay. Slater, big question on board here. You're a Valorant team coach, and I got to show you, I have some amazing qualities in Valorant, and I've made amazing feats. I went from Iron 3 to Iron 2 this summer, and is there like no applause or anything like that? Like,
What am I supposed to?
Yeah, that's a huge feat. I don't
No,
know what
fuck you. You bottom frag every time we play, bro. I'm not applauding.
What do you?
Shit.
Okay, but there's like one time that I fourth fragged, like got up and like started like
Slammed.
I was just going off on people. Like people were, it got sad to a point where people were texting. They're like, "Oh man, the bottom fragger like killed me," and I was like, "Yeah, sorry, dude."
I guess that would be an insult. I mean, if you set people's expectations really low and then you do something cool, then it's just like extra insult to injury.
Hell yeah. So Slater, here's the biggest thing. So yeah, I'm an Iron 2 player. I'm a dude who like goes through. I like having fun playing Valorant, you know, but I'm not really that good. The biggest thing I find, okay, here's one thing that I kind of want to talk to you about, because reflexes I feel like are a common thing across Counterstrike players, Valorant players, anybody in like FPS kind of region. And I feel like naturally, like I just go into like games, and even if I see somebody, like I just like turn a corner and I see somebody, my like vision to click to kill like speed is so slow compared to some people who can just like click super fast. Like, do you see that with like higher level people, that they can just like that they have some sort of like recognition where they can just like click as fast as possible? Like, how do people win those fights? It's crazy.
So, really how people like that's like how people work on reaction time is my reaction time used to be really bad.
Mm,
When I first started playing FPS games, like seriously, when I was like 10 or something like that.
mm.
I played FPS games all my life, but like once I was like 10 or 11, I wanted to start taking it a little bit more seriously. What I would do is I would go online and I would find like a reaction timer test, and all it did was just a little like website that all it did was change a color to like red or green, and when it turned green, you clicked the mouse button,
Mm.
and you just did that for like 2 minutes every day, and like in a month or two, like your reaction time would be doubled, if not tripled. Just because you're training your brain to be like, okay, when this happens, you click. So then you just transfer it to your game goes. If someone goes to your crosshair, you click. It becomes second nature.
That's
You're
wild.
not thinking about it.
I would also recommend there's a program on Steam that I got. I mean, technically, if it's a game, if you want to call it that, that's free. It's called Aim Lab, where
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
that,
like
that helps a lot.
yeah, that helps a lot. Like as like a because like the stuff Slater was doing, I would imagine it was like before like this kind of stuff was around, and now people make programs like specifically for first person shooter reaction times. And I mess around on Aim Lab a lot, and I found that it helps out with me playing first person shooters a lot too, because it tests your reaction time and like your aiming, like with the mouse and like with a gun in game.
Because what is it? Also, Valorant has that like training, like little battleground area or whatever, where you can like kind of do that little machine that like comes up. Yeah. And I think I tried doing that. I don't know if you're supposed to like do good at that, but I'm like a solid like I think out of 30, I think I get like 20 or whatever, and like the headshots and body shots, I'm just like fuck, dude.
That's
But
not bad at all.
you know, I trying to get better, trying to learn
Yeah.
the cahoots and cahollers that go around it. But you're saying that you were playing since like 10 or 11, and I know Counter-Strike has obviously been around before Valorant. Did you start out in like Counter-Strike, or were you kind of more of a
Yeah,
COD player or things? What were you?
my first shooter was 1.6 when I was 5. I
Mm,
played on my old Dell computer, Counter-Strike 1.6, and
mm,
I played gun game every day. Like after school, I would just get on a gun like a gun game server and just blast because I wasn't playing actual Counter-Strike, I was just having fun. But
mm,
then when I turned like 10 or 11, that's when Counter-Strike Source was like kind of heavy because I was like year or two before Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out, which came out in 2012, and then which because it was really bad because I was really good at Counter-Strike Source, but then they're like, here's Global Offensive, have fun everybody, and I was like, well, I guess I got to switch over to Global Offensive,
mm.
and then I started playing that since I was 12. So I've been playing Counter-Strike for, let's say I'm 20 for 15 years now, almost 21, so 16 years now.
See, my parents wouldn't let me play
I was
freaking
about to
first
say,
person
I was
shooters.
about to ask when you were able to start playing first person shooters, because your parents were really strict about it for like the longest time.
That's probably why I'm stuck in Iron 2, because I'm not freaking 5 years old starting this shit out. I'm freaking, what is it, 18? I see, my parents were, okay, we had like Wii games at home. Dude, when we got a GameCube at home, that was fire. But we were the type of family that was like, okay, Rock Band, we wanted to play Rock Band, but some of these games had the HE double hockey sticks, word in it, like, or some of the songs in Rock Band, like,
So you weren't allowed to play them.
yeah. So okay, so we had like a little booklet in our living room, with like all the song, or with all the song list in Rock Band, and we would go down the list. And we'd be like, oh, we want to try that song. We haven't played that song yet. And then some of my parents would be like, okay, let's look at it in the list. And then they go into the list of songs and then look through the lyrics. And they're like, HE double hockey
No.
sticks in this one. The
that-
B
I said
word.
no.
Was that just like a hammer on your dreams when you're like, oh, I want to play this song, and your mom's like, oh, but they say HE double hockey
See, the
sticks.
problem is I didn't even know what that song sounded like. So I was just like, oh, I assumed that it was bad. Like, I was just like, oh, oh shit, this is not good.
Did you like in your rebellious teen years like load up a Rock Band, you're like secretly playing them at night?
Yeah.
Dance songs.
Exactly. I'm trying to think when that threshold was crossed where we had a mutual agreement that I could play the naughty no songs on Rock Band. I think it was maybe when I crossed into like high school or something like that. That it just life started flashing before my eyes. You get into high
You're
school.
just playing like American Idiot by Green Day in your basement at 2 a.m. when you're a kid, and your dad finds out and he comes down there and he's like, Alex, what the fuck are you doing?
You're bringing back
See
PTSD
it.
for me. Come on, man. Like that's you never know that could totally happen. But man, once that threshold was crossed, once I was able to play the songs that had the nasty words, and then I started like looking into like I know. Okay, back in like middle school, we started getting little laptops and things like that, and the big game that started coming up was League of Legends, and that's what like my friends were like trying to get into. So a lot of people were like playing COD at people's houses and like going through all the gory stuff, but I was like doing these point and clicks with like freaking fairies and shit.
Well, actually, I was the one who got you into CS:GO.
Exactly. I remember I had a CS:GO phase
Because like all you were doing
fun.
is playing League of Legends. I was like, Alex, you should get this game. This is when you started to buy CS:GO. I was like, Alex, buy CS:GO and play it. And he's like, okay. And then he bought it, and then I stopped playing it for a little bit, and I come back, and Alex is like, I've played so much CS:GO.
Before, because do you remember Slater when like when CS:GO and all these like ranked changes were happening, and like they were trying to figure out the competitive ranks, like everybody was like everybody that you played with that were all shit were all like gold 1 or something like that, or like I'm trying to think, it was like silver and all the crazy ranks, and then like just the bottom of gold. I remember being so proud that I was like gold 2, or I forgot what the thing's called, but being gold.
Yeah, you like Gold Nova 2 and stuff like that.
Something like that, yeah.
The rank purge is what we call it in the Counter-Strike community.
Exactly.
Because
I
there's
remember
so many
that
people
happened.
that were global elite. There was like, I think it was like 20% of all matchmaking players were global elite, and that was like an insane number.
It's goofy.
And Valve was like, nope, we're gonna make that 2% now. So I remember I was like, I was Supreme Master, and like I think it's like the second to like right below Global Elite, and then I got slammed all the way got to like LEM, which is Legendary Eagle Master. It was like 3 ranks below, and I was like, what the hell was all my work for? Like you just took like months of my life away in like one update.
I mean, that obviously has some strife, but you gotta imagine me as an amazing low gold player getting hit by that purge and going all the
Oh yeah,
way
you're
down
like
to
Silver
the
3.
silver 1 or something, like literally the last rank, like the last like thing.
Oh,
And I just remember
that
being
hurt.
like, man, how am I gonna get to be a pro CS:GO player now? Like,
I mean, for me, I remember the part that of CS:GO, the timeline that sticks out the most to me is like the great loot box hysteria, where like every YouTuber that would own CS:GO would do a case opening like video, and like once every like 2 days or like once a week. That was insane, dude.
the Counter-Strike skin market. I'm just saying that was a huge thing.
That sense, I have a friend who did, because you can do the same thing on TF2. My friend bought his PC from selling, like, getting skins and, like, selling them up. And he got, like, $1,000 or, like, $2,000 from it. It's like, holy shit.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean the skin market for Counter-Strike is like millions of dollars. It's insane on how much money is transferred to there on a day-to-day basis. I knew a few people that's all they did. Like they only bought Counter-Strike. They didn't play the game. All they did was just collect skins and sell skins, and they made a bank. Like people were making like $15,000 a month off of just doing that, and I was like, "What are you doing? You're not even playing the game. You don't even care about it.
And it's just
All you
like,
care
it's
about
just
is the
pixels.
boxes."
You're paying money.
Not
That's the
just
biggest
pixels,
thing, yeah.
dude. It's
It's a piece of code that changes the way a gun looks in game.
It's
and
the
it's worth like
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to
Fatalities.
help you.
I'm just saying,
It doesn't make you a better gun gameplay.
Slater, whenever you load into a game and you have your AK-47 front side mixed factory new,
Yours isn't factory new. Get out of here.
I think mine was field tested. But when I got that $20 skin, I was like, yo, you guys get the fuck out of my way. I'm about to go from bottom frag to 4 frag really quick. But
It's not even top. You're like, I'm not cutting. I know my limits. The 4th is the best I'm getting with this skin.
straight up. But one of my best friends was just like, yo, for your birthday, I'm gonna get you like this $20 skin, and I like freaked out. And then I remember like a month later, I was looking at all these videos with like the trading up, and I was like, yeah, this is something serious. I'm gonna do that with this skin, and I like sold it. And then I just remember like I tried so hard or whatever, but I think I got like shitty skins in the end or whatever, and I pretty much like wasted the $20. I don't think I have the skin anymore.
Time.
And then I remember, I think my friend like was at school the next day or whatever, and was just like, so how's the front side Misty? And I was just like, it's great.
Wait, did you lose it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, from trade ups. I mean,
It's gone.
trade down.
trade downs, I guess.
I tried, dude. I wasn't feeling the stonks that day, you know. But yeah, so that's my Counter-Strike experience. But man, Counter-Strike, switching to Valorant, when Valorant was coming out, I remember I was very skeptical about it because CS:GO is such a huge thing, and it just seemed like it was dominating the entire competitive market, with all of everything that's going on in Europe, everything that's, that was going on in North America. But then when Valorant came out, uh, and people were like playing it, and even CS players were like, "This is the real deal." I was so confused because one, I thought it was funny because Riot Games, they call themselves Riot Games, but they only like made one game, which is League of Legends. So I was like, they're making another game. It's obviously gonna suck. But then it like came out and it's like now one of the most popular games out there, which is wild to me. Like
Valorant is like one of the few games where I was like wrong about judging the hype. Like when it was like they did that thing where you had to watch Twitch streamers to get a beta key. I was like, this seems like a goofy stunt for a game that's gonna overtake CS:GO for a month, minute, or like maximum, and then die off, and everyone will go back to CS. But it turns out Valorant like stuck around for the long haul, and I mean, originally I didn't really care for the game, but now I think I enjoy it more than I did CS. But maybe that's just like CS had like a lot of like jank hitboxes and stuff. And it was kind of like weird from a technical standpoint, at least in my opinion. But I mean, I gotta give props to CS:GO. CS:GO walked so Valorant could run.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember watching, like, hearing Valorant. I was still a Counter-Strike player. I didn't even retire yet, as a, like the player side career. I was still trying to shoot for going pro in Counter-Strike, and then Valorant came out, and I kind of was sick of the North American Counter-Strike scene, like how you have to know somebody to know somebody to even like move up, or you have to like it's all about numbers, and if no one gives a shit about who you really are, or like what you're, if you're a support character, you have to be a hard entry, and you have to carry every single game to become pro. So Valorant was like a new step forward in that direction, and I remember um like watching that, and I remember like half of the people that I knew from Counter-Strike like immediately jumped ship and just moved over to Valorant and just tried to do the same thing I was doing. And I think that's the reason why Valorant took off so well, because not even just like the low tier end high players, but like ex-professionals or even professional CS:GO players were like, bye, deuces, and they just went over to Valorant. I mean, you got like, you got a guy like Skadoodle, who was like the best opera in North America ever, is now signed to a Valorant roster after he came out of retirement for that. You have Shazam, who was a pretty good opera, coming through as well. So, I mean, you just got a bunch of Counter-Strike players that kind of were sick of Counter-Strike, or they've been playing it for so long, and they went over to a new esport. And I think that's what the reason why it is sticking around. Because I think if they didn't do that, like if they didn't have that hype behind them, it wouldn't have stuck around. I think it would have been like another, like what you said, it would have been like, okay, well, it may have maxed out like a month, and then Counter-Strike would have taken back over. But I think the reason why it's staying is because a lot of Counter-Strike players have moved on over to it and are sticking with it.
So what's the state because of all these guys going over to Valorant? I mean, what does CS:GO do now? Like, I mean, Valorant is such a hit right now, and obviously, came out this summer, and we're still living onto the hype of it, and it just does seem like Valorant is getting a lot of changes, is starting to figure out what metas are going to look like, how metas are going to change. It seems like people are in Valorant for the long haul. What does CS:GO do right now? Does CS:GO have to make a new game in order to stay relevant? Are
Nah,
people?
they moved to Europe. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think like Valorant is growing, but it's growing in all countries. But Counter-Strike's dying in North America, and it's all moving to Europe because Counter-Strike to Europe has been its esport for years, like 2 decades at this point. Like when North America was going through the console esport stages, like Call of Duty and Halo were like the biggest esport in North America. It was Counter-Strike Source, and Counter-Strike 1.6 was in Europe, and you're not going to get rid of that. Um, that's their baby. That's their bread and butter. So, but North America is losing it because they've lost all their talent, or the top tier talent has either moved to Valorant or they've moved to Europe and on European teams, and a bunch of North American organizations are realizing like, oh, it's cheaper to go in Europe and possibly win a major versus just trying to pick up a bunch of five hot-headed egotistical fraggers
Mm.
and pay them a bunch of money to do absolutely nothing for the next 3 years. Um, so honestly, I think what Counter-Strike does is just stick in Europe for right now. I mean, in Europe, it's going to blossom, it's going to bloom like it always has been. I think North America kind of missed a ship on that one.
Yeah.
I also feel like Valve like never held CS:GO to like the standard it should have been, I guess. It seems like, or from what I remember, they focused a lot of their like time and effort towards Dota 2, and like CS:GO was, I don't know, almost like the black sheep of like
Yeah.
the group and stuff, because like I mean CS:GO isn't as nearly as bad as like TF2 getting updates, but I don't know, I don't feel any real like impact of like Valve putting like the maximum effort into CS:GO, and you can tell a lot of like love and stuff was put into this. Like it just feels like they don't nearly care as much as they did before.
No, they didn't. They started caring when Valorant first came out, like because there was a huge hype and they had competition, which was Valorant. There was like 3 or 4 updates in the span of a month for Counter-Strike that was like you could they fixed a bunch of bugs. They redid some maps that people were complaining about for years at this point, and it was all because of Valorant. But then they realized like, oh well, people are just gonna move over anyways, and there hasn't been an update for Counter-Strike, like a major update in probably 3 to 4 months now, and it's not gonna be another major update for a minute. It's like they freaked out for the very beginning of Valorant, and then they were like, yeah, whatever, and then they went back to being docile on it and not doing much with it. Counter-Strike is pretty much just it plays exactly the same. It does there's like just minor changes that happen, but to me, Counter-Strike from 2013 to 2020, it's still the exact same game. You still shoot the
Oh, for
same
sure.
guns. Nothing has ever changed. It's the metas might have changed a little bit, but it's pretty easy to understand what's happening. There's no major change. It's not like League of Legends where like 2012 League of Legends to 2020 League of Legends is a completely different game.
Yeah,
People are playing completely different champions and stuff like that. Counter-Strike is like, nah, you still take the site the same way. You still flashbang the same way. So what is there to change?
But guys, do you remember the R8 revolver when it first
that's
came
what I was
out?
gonna say. They tried to bring out
Dude,
that art
people hated
revolver.
that. I
Oh
don't
my.
understand like who got that, who greenlit that. Like I had to go through a few people to be like, yes, let's make our coders do that. Let's make our programmers go through this hellhole week to fucking get that in there.
Pre-patch, it was the funniest shit, dude. I remember seeing compilations. It's like a one-shot kill from any range.
Yeah, and people just like colliding like like just multiple people with it, and it's like okay, like yeah, I spent $800 for a handheld op. Okay,
Yeah.
it's great.
My gosh, that's the biggest thing. I think you truly addressed that. It just since I'm more of a League of Legends fan, it just the change from 2012 to 2020 that League of Legends has really done. It's been astronomical. Like the game is definitely not the same, but with CS:GO, like I think I tried playing it a couple weeks ago, and it just feels the exact same. Which I mean, I guess some people could say is a good thing. I mean, a lot of people think that 2012 League of Legends should have stayed around because that was the glory days. Those were the good old days, and I guess there's pros and cons to not doing too much throughout a lifespan. I mean, obviously, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's just one of those things that CS:GO just seems like they're losing so much right now, and they're trying to regain a lot of momentum with a lot of these updates, but it just doesn't seem like there's that bright of a future for them.
I mean, honestly, that's the reason I dropped. I used to play like Overwatch and stuff. The reason I dropped it is because like I hated that the meta changed like every 10 seconds. Like they'd as soon as they add a new character, it's like, oh, we have to adjust every single character now, and then like change the way they work, or like halfway through like a character being released to the next one, they would change it, and it was just, I don't know. I didn't feel like learning, and maybe that's why I stopped playing Siege as much, because it's just like it. I don't even know how to describe it. It feels more like chess than it does like a team first person
FPS,
shooter, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah, and I'm not. That's not really what I grew up on. I mean, I used to play like Call of Duty Black Ops when I was a kid, and like Killzone 3 and like all that kind of stuff. And then I picked up CS in like 2013, I think, when I was still playing it on like my Mac computer in my living room. And I
Hmm.
liked those because it's just like what you get when the game first comes out is usually what continues to stay that way. So you learn to adapt with the things that stay the same. And this now is just like no matter how many times you adapt with the thing you're given, you're gonna have to do it again, like pretty soon. So I wasn't a huge fan
Yeah,
of
I
that.
mean, I think that's the reason why people liked CS is like the meta didn't change. I mean, metas did change like into the game, like Astralis when they first showed up and they started doing really well, like the best roster in CS:GO history.
Mm.
They just all they did was just utilize nade usage extreme to like the extreme amount, and they would just nade you, molly you, and flashbang you off everything. And it's like that you could have done that in 2012. You could have done that in Source. You could have done that in 1.6. It's just it doesn't, but it just took now to realize, oh yeah, this is a great meta, but they still swung the same way. They still shot you with the same AK to say M4 that you saw back in 1.6. It's no different. Um, it's just yeah, they just naded you 3 times instead of not nading you at all. That's the only thing they changed. Where like you said with Overwatch, it's like oh, well Doomfist came out, now everyone has to get changed, and oh now Brigitte came out, everyone has to get changed, and oh now this another guy came out, and it was like every 2 or 3 months the meta would change or they would nerf a character that was part of the meta, and then someone had to find another meta. And I mean, yeah, that's definitely a turn off for people. Where it's just like, if I work for 2 months and then I have to redo all my work for another 3 months, why am I working for 2 months for like no reason?
That's probably why I'm like my two like favorite genres of like games to play are like rhythm games and fighting games. And I think the reason I'm big into fighting games is because like when the game comes out, like I mean, unless it's Smash Bros where they adjust the frame data every 10 seconds and then add a new character, but like with fighting games, it's like all the combos for these characters that are out are there when they come out, but it's just up to like the players or like the amount of time you spend to figure it out. And like not
Hmm.
much stuff changes, but like you can have like a toss up in like matchmaking and stuff, or like in tournaments and stuff where it's like maybe you know this combo, but this person knows this thing that's been in the game the entire time that you didn't prepare for. And it's just I don't know, fighting games kind of remind me of like CS in the sense that like they don't really change after the way they come out, and it's up to the player to make the most out of what they've put in from the start.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the key thing that also think defines a great game, but might not necessarily be an evolving game. Is going back to my route of League of Legends, they put in a champion. They had like release saying that they're like, oh, we're gonna put in X amount of champions this year and X amount of champions next year, and revamp this and that, and it just seems like companies are forcing people to learn the game differently and almost like making people better or worse in an unnatural way. Whereas, yeah, when you go to CS or when you have these fighting games where, somebody learns something and does something differently, and having the people evolve throughout instead of having the game evolve, I think that's crazy powerful. But
Also, sorry for
Hmm.
the if you're watching the podcast, if you see me step out, I stepped out just now again. It's just to make sure my camera doesn't fucking die while we're recording this, so the video just cuts out halfway through the podcast because that would be very tragic.
yeah, I mean,
Be
It's our first
100%
time.
tragic.
Yeah, it's our first time. Give us a second to get us everything figured out.
definitely true, definitely true. Man, so okay, your role in Team Reinvented Gaming. What since you got hired to take this over, I thought there is some people oscillating in and out of the Valorant roster, and I've been hearing talks of you and Dorian kind of figure out like a set team. Give us like a rundown, like what's been going on over on the Valorant side of Team Reinvented Gaming.
So really what's been going on is we're on a revamp of roster number 2. The first roster didn't work out too well for mostly their own personal reasons. So we started to go back and look back on who do we want? Like we started taking a lot of time and a lot of dedication on. We're not just going to slam a roster together in like a week or two. We're going to take our time. Probably now. We don't even have a full roster yet. We still have tryouts to go. Like even later today, I got tryouts with the guys. But I think it's been like a good 6 to 7 weeks of since we started doing this again, and it might be another 2 to 3 weeks until we have a full roster. We just want to like we like to take that time and realize like okay, these aren't people that are just going to get up and leave when they immediately lose a game. These are people actually here wanting to stay and like, actually do what they would need to do and stuff like that. But um, really, it's just been a lot of researching one player. Me and Blake Worm, our analyst, we watch probably 3 to 4 hours of demo per person a day.
Mm.
We like to watch them a lot to see like how they play, how they think, why they made this play. Is this like yeah, to you at that point, it could have been a smart play to make, but it's like, every person has a pattern and a play style, so I want to know, like, okay, you're going to be a type of guy that's going to run in there headstrong when you tag a guy, or you're going to be a type of person that's going to fall back, um, and stuff like that. So that helps us a lot to sit down, and then when I actually watch them play, I already have a good idea of what's happening. Like, I already have a good idea of how this guy communicates. I already have a good idea of how he operates and stuff like that. So it speeds up the process a little bit more. But it's been a good run. We've been grinding out a lot. Just I've been talking to Dorian, updating him as much as possible whenever he can get updated. I know he's like 8 hours behind us,
Mm.
so whenever I can catch him, I update him on what's going on. But it's a lot of um, it's a lot of just sitting down at a computer and having four monitors all watching the same demo or multiple demos at once, and just taking notes upon notes, and just like realizing like, okay, this guy does this guy does that. Then I send it over to Blake Worm, which he will give me like percentages and stuff like that. Like, this guy has an 89% chance to get a first round pick every time he plays this map. So then after, like, once we start getting to the actual roster building, and we're like, okay, this is the roster we want. We know all the information we need. Like, we know that your strong points, we know your weak points, we know what you need to work on, what we don't need to work on, and we can make a game plan after that.
That's crazy. That's like a lot of work and dedication. But I would imagine
Mhm.
you thoroughly enjoy doing it.
Oh yeah, like I've been managing. I was managing before esports. I managed like what you call brick and mortar businesses. Like, I managed e-cigarette shops. I've managed clothing stores. I've managed resale stores, stuff like that. So it was all pretty much the same thing. It's just mine's all digital. Esports is all digital, which is you watch a video, you watch somebody play something like that. But the managing portion is still the same. You have to get information on the people. You gotta know who's working, who's not working, and stuff like that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's like, I enjoy it more actually than being a player. That's why I was like, let's go to the managing side. Let's retire as a player. I enjoy this more.
Yeah. I guess it feels, I don't know, from my point of view, I think it would feel less stressful just to do like analyzing and managing than it would be. Because, like, I did something for a little while where I played like part of an Overwatch team, and we had like a coach on our team and stuff, and I just felt nervous the entire time with like all these eyes on me, and it's like I know someone's later is gonna like break
Hmm.
down and like analyze my gameplay and like pick it apart. So
Oh, yeah, it's definitely less stressful, to me personally, than being a player, because as a player, you not just have to be good at the game, but you have to be healthy, like in your own lifestyle. Like, you have to get enough sleep. You can't be doing 20-hour days and getting 4 hours sleep days in and expecting to be 110%. You can't overwork yourself. You can't work out too much, or you might pull your arm muscle and you can't aim that day. There's a lot of like underlying stress. But as a manager, it's like all I have to do is just. I mean, managing also has its own stress. You gotta, like, if I gotta fire somebody, I mean, that's a whole stress in its own. You gotta be comfortable with cutting somebody. You gotta be comfortable with, like, and it sounds harsh, but ending a career. I mean,
Mm.
that's really what's happening. Is like, hey man, you're cut, and this is probably your only chance. Um, so that, I mean, that's its own stress, but I find it way less stressful than being a player. Because being a player, you have to be like an athlete, pretty much, like a modern day athlete, where you have to eat right, diet right, um, practice on a proper schedule, and it consumes your entire life.
So the process now, obviously, you're going through a lot of guys here, and you're watching film, making sure you learn from a lot of guys. I know you said that you went through one roster already, and you're kind of working on a second roster now. Um, what's next after assembling a roster? I mean, obviously you're looking to try to make something that'll last for a long time. Is a lot of effort going to go into scrims, trying to make sure the synergy of the group works together? Do you have any methods to your madness on how to prepare for things? Are you looking at I know Dorian was talking about some other tournaments, I think, that were happening in the month of October or something like that. Is there anything on the horizon for you upcoming next? Obviously, this is a lot open ended, but I'm curious to hear what you think about it.
We have game plans. So we call them stage one and stage two. So stage one, like after the roster is completed, then the roster would be going into stage one, which is pretty much a lot of small tier tournaments, free to entry tournaments, maybe $10 entry fee tournaments. Um, 100% focusing on just getting that team chemistry going, like understanding like this is what your teammate does, this is how your teammate speaks. Um, and we're not going to slam you into a $20,000 tournament because right off the bat, that doesn't make any sense. Like if you can't win a free entry tournament that's $50 prize pool for first winner, you're not going to win a $20,000 one. So once they win like a few of those and we feel like they can move on, then we move on to stage two, and that would be more of like the invitational events to $2,000 to $4,000 tournaments and stuff like that. But it is a lot open-ended because it depends on like how they do and stuff like that. It depends on the performance and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely we definitely have a like a roadmap of like, okay, we want to be you want to be a professional Valorant roster, like we want to be like the name and like we want to be one of the big names in Valorant. Okay, well we can't just do that overnight, so we have to have baby steps. We can't go to jump to tier one just by signing you guys. Like it has to be tier three, tier two, then tier one. So we made game plans and stuff like that to get us there. It's just people just have to perform and stuff like that, and we see how it goes.
That's crazy to me because I've just been such a casual player and haven't really been in any type of organization before. So all of this thinking is it's quite new to me, and it's one of those things where you're like, man, as a middle schooler, you're just like, man, it would be so cool to play professionally, but to sit here and talk to people who are paving their way to actually making that a reality is it's quite impressive and exciting.
I think the one thing people also forget is like when you're on a team, you need to like be because like for I was on back when they had like in 2013 and when I was a wee seventh grader. And when there was like league play and Call of Duty Ghosts, like me and a bunch of my friends got into like a clan or whatever, and then we would like compete every like weekend and stuff, and like the clan events, and we got to like top 200 in the world, and it was like a ton of fun. But the reason it works is because everyone that was like part of like the team, I guess, like knew each other, and like we would do stuff outside of playing that game, and like we would all joke around. And I think the thing is like to get good synergy, you need to know the people that you're working with, and you need to be like actual friends with them in a way to get like the most cooperation and like I don't know how to really describe it, like to function the most as a unit as possible. But I think
Yeah.
people don't understand that a lot. Like they get recruited to a team, and then they just show up to practice, and then like that maybe that's about it, or like they speak to the coach and stuff, but they don't really interact with like the other players outside of like practices and stuff. So yeah, I mean, from what I've learned, if any of you out there, I mean, I'm no coach or anything, but uh, keep that in mind. I mean, even if you want to apply for like the team Reinvented, like any of our teams and stuff, a good mindset to go in with is to work well with other people, keep good synergy, and like make friends and stuff. Have fun while you're doing it. Otherwise, it'll just be like a drag.
Yeah, like if you turn, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it sounds bad coming from me. At the end of the day, it's a game. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, at the
Hmm.
end of the day, it's a game that at the beginning of its life cycle, when people were just thinking about it and putting it on paper, it had no intention of being a competitive game. Um, it's just turned into one. So yeah, you have fun with it. Don't turn it into a job. Like, yeah, you're trying to make it a job, you're trying to get paid for it, but don't make it a 9 to 5. Don't act like you're going to McDonald's and you're ignoring your manager and flipping burgers all day. Like, no, you're playing a game and you're trying to get good at it and you're trying to like make a job out of it. Have some fun with it and learn and like you said, be friends with the people that are around you because I don't know how many teams I've managed or how many teams I've been a part of when I was a player that was the reason why it broke up was when one person or two people didn't get along and they just did not want to be friends at all, like off the
Hmm.
bat. And of course, 2 days, a week, or a month down the road, the team breaks up. It's like, well, yeah, there's no such thing as team synergy there because these two guys hated each other.
Yeah, and it's like even on like a larger scale, like have you ever watched on YouTube, you can find like NFL mic'd up. Like even on football and stuff, you can see when they have like mics wide to the players and stuff on like the sidelines or on the field, they're like joking with their fellow teammates and stuff, and they're having a good time because the best thing you can have when you go to compete is a positive mindset.
Yes, 100%. I
They're
think I
too.
think a lot. I think the other thing is like a lot of people don't treat esports differently than like even traditional sports or even just a normal workplace. Like they think it's just like a hobby. Um, it's like, well, I want to become pro. It's like, yeah, we gotta be. You're trying to get to the 2% of the world population. Like
Hmm.
that's not just a hobby anymore. That's like me saying I want to be a hobby NASCAR driver and win the 500. Like that's like I'm not gonna win Daytona. Or I'm not gonna win the Indy 500 if I'm just a hobbyist of NASCAR driver. Like you have to put a lot of years and a lot of time into that.
Yeah, you have to
It's
be
the same thing with
dedicated to the
esports.
craft for it.
Hmm.
Well, I do got to say, before we might wrap things up, Slater, if you have any openings on the Valorant roster, I'm Iron 2. I'm a Brimstone main, which is pretty good in meta stuff right now because of all the smokes, I gotta say. I know how to do that, like, one smoke. I don't even know the map names, so I'm not even gonna try. But like, I can do some pretty cool
Oh no.
smokes. Okay, on like one, I call this the worm, where you put the
Hmm.
smokes like in a line, like in three, and then your entire team of five just like walks up, like through the smoke, and then you just kind of like get onto site. And if there's somebody there, cool, you just shoot them. But if not, then you have the site. So if that looks good to you, I would love to be a part of your team. And yeah, I'll have my people call your people. Okay.
Well, I think Dorian was
Okay. Yeah.
mentioning like if we get like a solid Valorant team and stuff, one time to do like ambassadors versus like the Valorant team, which would be funny as
Oh yeah.
fuck because it's like that'd be like a real test. Like if you guys lose to the ambassadors, then like what the fuck's going on? But I think it'd be
Yeah. Like
funny.
you should beat us.
I think
Like it should not be a blowout.
it'd be funny as fuck just to get like absolutely destroyed by Team Reinvented's Valorant team. I think that'd be fun. So if we get that situated in the future, expect me to be in that. You best believe I'm gonna be competing for the ambassadors, and I'm gonna be absolutely pummeled into fucking sand.
What?
Well, all right. I think we're coming to like the 53-minute mark, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Before we go, I want to continue with a thing we did last episode of the podcast, where we each share like one piece of media, whether it be like a movie, some kind of music, a game, just anything that we've been vibing with these past. I think it's been 2 weeks since the last episode came out. So if we could just go around and share one cool piece out to the podcast and to the rest of the people here, that would be cool. Slater, if you want to start, if you got anything on your mind.
Dude, one thing that pops to my mind is I've been learning Japanese. I've been learning that on my off time, and I've been listening to a lot of Japanese hip hop and rap, and it's just awesome. It's like 20 times better than anything in the United States.
I can agree. I've been listening to like a lot of Japanese. I've listened to like Japanese like rock and hip hop and stuff, but recently I started listening to like 80s Japanese funk, and like I don't know what's going on over there, but they got that down. Like the United States
Oh yeah.
could not recreate that. It's like its own specific genre, and it's so good.
Yes, it's amazing. I'll blare that through my car like all the time
Hmm.
now, and it's like I don't even speak the language. I'm learning it, but this is amazing.
Slater, I don't think you understand. I'm driving around with Dominic sometimes to go on like walks and things like that, and then he'll take the aux cord and just be like, "Alex, I got gas right now." And I'm just like, "What?" And it plugs it in, and then, I mean, obviously I don't know the words, but it's either at like some crazy BPM or something like that that gets your blood pumping, and I'm more of a traditionalist, but I gotta say, some of them are bops. Some of them are definitely bops.
What about you though, Alex? What have you been enjoying?
I gotta piggyback off of that. I mean, obviously J-pop and a lot of things that are happening over there is good, but you just gotta go back to traditional Christmas music. It is November, folks. I gotta tell you that Christmas music is by far one of the best kinds of music out there. Look at other holidays. Sorry, not
Halloween.
holidays. Other Halloweens. No, sorry. But like Halloween music is cool and all. There's no Thanksgiving
Oh,
music
don't even
that I know
sugarcoat it, bro.
about.
Halloween music trash, and it's not even anywhere near Christmas music. No
I
one can
mean,
even touch it.
There's not even like Hanukkah music. I mean, there's some
There's
Hanukkah music
Hanukkah,
out
yeah.
there, but like Christmas music definitely has the market. I'm just saying that when you just sit in the car and you're driving along, obviously there's no snow now, it's 60 degrees, but you put on a good old Nat King Cole and he just starts going chestnuts roasting on an open fire. You know, like, man, I'm just saying that just brings me to tears all the time. And I'm a huge R&B fan as well, so there's a lot of R&B and Christmas mixes that are going around as well that a lot of people might not like. But I definitely recommend get those Christmas jams going right now. And that's my stuff for the week.
Yeah, well, mine's nothing too exciting. Just volume 8 for Ruby just started. The first episode came out today, and I was hyped about that. I've been watching this show since I was like I think sophomore in high school, so it's very, very important to me, one of my favorite shows. And episode 1 was very good, and I'm really excited to see where it's going. Ruby, if you don't know, is like I think it's like one of the first, I could be wrong, please don't destroy me in the comments or anything, like the first web series, like 3D animated web series to be considered anime in Japan, which is like a big deal. But I also just like thoroughly enjoy the show. Like I like it a lot, and it's a big part of my life. So yeah, if you're looking for a show to watch, go watch Ruby, or slap my water bottle out of my hand. Go watch Ruby. If you need music to listen to, go listen to some Japanese hip hop. Absolutely got some real bangers in there. Or if you're really feeling in the seasonal mood, go listen to some Christmas music. I don't think there's any point in my life where I'm just like, Christmas music, even if it's June. We were turning that up in here in like the beginning of September, and Neps was like cranking some.
I swear to God, it goes hard. It's gas.
It's gas. It is gas.
Like if you're in like a Valorant scrim or something like that, like just put on Silent Night, bro. The boys are gonna be top fragging after that. I'm just saying.
It like triggers like the same little doodads in my brain as like classical music, and it just makes me like mellow, and I'm all focused up. But yeah, I think that's about it. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'd like to thank Slater for coming out for this episode, and I'd also like to I'm sorry, I don't know why I said I'm a bit stupid, if you can't tell.
What a terrible host out here. You're not giving the guests enough time to talk.
I'm getting fired. Dorian's going to come to my house and tell me I'm dropped from the org.
Rough, dude, rough.
But go check out the Indiegogo campaign if you can. Any donations are appreciated. And once again, thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the podcast, and we'll see you in, I think it's every 2 weeks that we're doing this now, so hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks. See you, everyone.